So let's be real. We're here for the crazy gains, right? Now, I hear sometimes from people, I'm only here for the tech. It then creates this desire in us to be like, oh yeah, me too. But if that's true, why do we only come in when massive green candles are happening? That is exactly what got my attention in October of 2017. I was meeting up with someone at a burned down apartment building to consider buying it. And he told me about how he invested $15,000 and 11x'd it in a few months. Now, I was going the get rich slow route, which real estate investment is a great way to grow wealth over long periods of time, 20, 30 years. Absolutely works. If you get lucky, it can happen much faster than that. But when you start with not very little, it takes a while to grow that up. So I was like, what? 15,000? 11x'd it? That's impossible. So he told me to look into Bitcoin, but more specifically, other cryptos. And that started me down a rabbit hole. Now, did you ever see Alice in Wonderland? I know, the Disney movie, yes. She pokes her head into the rabbit hole and it's kind of dark. She can't see how big it is, so she pushes further in. And now she realizes she is falling. She keeps falling further and further into the rabbit hole. Isn't that what we go through in crypto? Really? We poke our heads in, looking around, all of a sudden we are falling down this deep rabbit hole. And so I'm about 4 years into the rabbit hole. And there is no place I would rather be, even though sometimes it's got my mind racing with dreams of, again, 300Xs. Boy, they're so nice. And my friends call me sometimes panicked because they watch somebody else's YouTube video. Why do they ever do that? Just kidding, I encourage them to. So why do I bring this up? Well, because if you were here, you might be only a month or 2 months, or maybe even 3 months into the rabbit hole, and your eyes are still getting adjusted, and you're trying not to be overwhelmed with the huge number of projects and project names thrown at you every single day, overwhelming your ability to process it all. Now, how do I know that is happening? Because it happens to all of us. And I want to share with you a gem you might miss if I didn't share with you what I have seen in past patterns. But before I do, don't forget to like this video. Now, I went ahead and made the deal with Pocket Arena for the castles. So help me out by helping our likes for this video get to over 1,000 in the first 24 hours so I can start the giveaway. I purchased up to 4 castles, and these are castles that are your own NFTs and will likely have huge value. But before we even can start that giveaway, help me get this video to 1,000 likes in the first 24 hours so that we can put that giveaway and get it going, because otherwise I'll have to put it off till later. And what are the castles? So they're the castle for Pocket Arena. And if you see here and you come to their site, Pocket Arena, and the first thing it says is no castle detected. Start your own digital assets by renting a castle from a sponsor. Well, what if you didn't have to rent it because you won it? Right? So help me get to over 1,000 likes in the first 24 hours, and that will start that giveaway. If we get to 4,000 likes in the first 24 hours, I will give away up to 4. Otherwise, we get over 1,000 likes, we'll start that giveaway, and I will have a total of 4 giveaways to do. So if you haven't joined us, join this Telegram group below as well. Right now, it's free. There are some things that maybe down the road you won't be able to get access. So join our Telegram group right now. It's free and it's open and it's not locked. So you can join it. That will not always be the case. All right. Some of you were here with us in the space back in February and March. And there was a particular type of token that did well during February and March. Now, many of them did well, but specifically one type of token did exceptional, and that's Launchpad tokens. Just about every one of them did crazy numbers and gains. And for those of you that are able to get in them at the initial DEX offering, you did absolutely incredible. Many of them did over 100x. Now, there is a new Launchpad coming specifically focusing on the gaming sector. I've known one of their team members for months now, and back in February when I started to get to know some of the players behind the scenes, he was everywhere. And he and the team know the right contacts to get some of the best up-and-coming crypto games launching through them. I know, you might be thinking, but Rain, I don't play video games. I get it. I personally do play them, though I did remove them from my life for about 10 years when I was working between 3 to 4 jobs and university, trying to claw my way out of poverty. So though I like games, there are only a few even that I ever play, but I invest in games that I think will do well, whether or not I would ever play it. I still continue to make money from my Axie Infinity investment I made 2.5 years ago, and I think it's now at about a total of 100x gains total that I've made on it. And had I timed it a little bit better, I would be solidly at 1,000x on that investment alone. Now, on video games that I have no intention of ever playing because it's not my type of game, I still invest. Like Axie Infinity is not my type of game. But was it a good investment? No, it was a great investment. One of the challenges that we have with launchpads, though, is knowing which ones are worth holding the tokens for. Now, what I like about this one is the gaming space is small enough that in one launchpad, my guess is we will have enough access to get a lot of the games out there that are going to be highly interesting. The crypto tokens, maybe some of the NFTs. Now, let me share with you some history. I have here pulled up, first of all, the project I'm talking about is Game Station. So very good looks. You see I just retweeted. They've got their IDO coming up, and they're doing an Equinox launch, a Montreal launch, and GameFi. And so if you get tokens on there, you can participate there. If not, you can wait till it's tradable on the markets. And I don't know specifically if this is going to be on Ethereum or on Matic, but I will be loading up on Game Station tokens because I want to participate in their launches. And I suggest you take a strong look at it to see if it fits for you. Let me share with you some history. So one of the launch pads I'm very familiar with because in February or March, this one helped me do some really good gains. This is Paid Network. Now, unfortunately for me, I heard about them when they were IDOing. I didn't look into it. I didn't have any connections to get into the private price, but I know some people that did, and they did incredibly well. In fact, at the private price, I know somebody that this one literally made him a multi-millionaire. He put about $40,000 in pre-sale. Can you imagine? That was some good contacts. But back in November and October when they did their pre-sale, the market was pretty stagnant. And so I think they even had a hard time raising funds. But if you were able to get into the IDO, you got it at 4.2 cents. Now, even though all these tokens have pulled back tremendously, you can look at returns from IDO, even at today's price with a huge pullback, it's still 12x up. But it was almost 150x up from IDO price. Imagine what kind of gains you would have made. Now, if you look at their price today, this is what it looks like. And it came out, and you could have bought it even at 40 cents. And then it went to over $5. So that would have been a quick flip for 10x. Then it crashed because their token actually got hacked. Now remember, I did a video on them here because I like to buy cheap. And I had some viewer tell me, why are you pushing scam coins? I was like, yeah, because I don't push scam coins. In fact, my stuff is some of the best research stuff out there on the internet for YouTube videos on cryptocurrency. So wouldn't you like to have been buying for cheap? Now I wasn't able to get it quite this cheap because they got hacked, and I didn't want to buy and have my tokens worth nothing, so I had to wait, and this chart doesn't truly reflect it, but I was able to get some for 40 cents and then some at $1 and higher, and then it bounced around sideways for a while, absolutely took off in April, and some of the projects I got through here did incredible. I got into Split, a $250 allocation that turned into about $17,000 within like 3 days. It was pretty incredible. And now Paid and just about everything has retraced tremendously. In fact, it got extremely good there, popped off, and then has come back. So it's still trading pretty low. Now, what's even better than this is one that's barely launching, that hasn't built up as much expectation. And I think we're about to go into another February and March period, except this one's going to be much stronger. Now, this is another one I'm pretty familiar with, DuckDAO. And they actually, you were able to get their Duck DDIM token or DuckDAO Dime token extremely cheap last November and October. And it went up to over $100. And you could have bought it for like $3, $4 $2.50, even $21, and now it's retraced tremendously to $15 or $16, and you have to hold these tokens to be able to participate in DuckDAO's pre-sales. Another Launchpad token, so I'm just sharing with you what Launchpad tokens do during a boom. So if I'm right, that not only do we have a boom coming, but this boom is going to be 3 times the size of what we experienced in February and March. Are you seeing why I'm interested in Launchpads, specifically GameStation? Anyway, make of that what you will. I am not a financial advisor. I'm just a crypto investor myself. Yes, I am now a multimillionaire because of what's really happened the last 3 years. Now, when everyone left in crypto winter, when it got boring, I stuck around and I kept buying, and I did my analysis and I made smart buys. And even though the majority of the gains that are about to hit us haven't even happened, it's turned my portfolio from thousands into millions. This is the right place to be. And if you make smart decisions, some amazing things can happen for you as well. Now, specifically Launchpads, when things get crazy, if you hold enough tokens to get guaranteed allocations, especially on the good projects that come out, then you get your allocation on that. That is a quick flip to not only get your initial investment back out, but some crazy gains. It's almost like printing money during that period. But it isn't a token you want to hold all the way till the end of the bull market. So it is something to be cautious of, because look at this retracement. It went absolutely crazy, and it would have continued doing crazy if they hadn't had that hack. And then went all the way up here, and specifically went to these highest prices when some of their best stuff was coming out. And so it went, actually, the chart doesn't show it, but actually went to over $7, because I remember that time period. And now has retraced nicely, and Paid is a great buy. I'm a big fan of them. They have 2 Launchpads through Paid's token, and they're one of my favorites. But I really like the gaming space. Now, gaming is going to be pretty volatile, but some of these games coming out are going to be like Axie Infinity, and they're going to have ridiculously huge rewards for those that invest early. And so that's why the Launchpad GameStation is on my mind. I know some of the team behind them, they're solid. I like them a lot. They know what they're doing, and they have the right connections to launch some very good projects. So I do want to hear your thoughts on crypto gaming in the comments below. Is it interesting to you? Do you love it? A great community member put in my last video in the comments that he struggles with the gaming videos because it isn't his focus at all, and I can understand that. I cover it because the returns can be flatly ridiculous, and that's what has my attention. But we all have our favorites, and I want to hear what your thoughts are on the gaming space. Also, I want to hear your success stories in crypto. But for those, can you DM those to me either on Twitter or on Telegram? My information is here. This is my Twitter, and then the Telegram for our Crypto Rain discussion is here. Now, it's still open. You don't have to pay to get into it for now. We're probably going to close that at some point. So if you haven't joined us there, go ahead and join us. If you don't have Telegram, good time to go ahead and download it and get it. We're going to rearrange things in the coming months, and which will probably include closing this off, except for those who get our course that we're putting together, and then they'll be able to get in. But it also allows us a screening mechanism to keep it really solid, because it's really important to me that the community in there is solid and strong and positive. What I like so far is that we do have lots of very smart people that are in there that have very good, thoughtful analysis that they put in as to the discussions. And so it really is like being able to go into a classroom with other really smart people that you can talk to and engage with all the time. So if you're ready to level up your crypto game, if you're here for life-changing money, like my friend from high school who's here for wife-changing money, so the life-changing money is going to help him get the wife-changing money, and I really like his reasons behind it. Or if you're here for that Lambo, but if you get a Lambo, please don't get the cheap ones. It hurts my heart if you buy a $250,000 Lambo, because in about 10 years, that $250,000 Lambo will probably be worth about $30,000. So a massively depreciating asset. But if you do get a Lambo and you get that $850,000 one, those tend to go up in value, and about 10 years later it might be worth 1.1 million. So at least it's going the right way. With that said, if you make $850,000, you use 100% of your profits to buy that Lambo, that's not really getting the bigger picture either. I'm probably not going to buy that car myself till I hit 40 million. What I'm trying to decide is that 40 million before tax or after. I don't know. Probably after even. Why? Because I want to spend so much of my assets, my accumulated assets, on something like a car. I tend to be pretty economical on certain vehicles. I will be getting a ridiculous truck coming up soon, but I've always driven functional vehicles so that I could throw all my money into investments. Not because I love functional vehicles. I want a really ridiculous truck that when I drive by, and I could already afford this, it would just, why would I pull out that money? I mean, it wouldn't even be a problem to afford this. I have like 7 times the amount of what it would cost for that truck sometimes put into one token alone. So it's not that I can't afford it at all. It's just that, why would I do that yet? We have 2 to 3 to 4 months that are going to be absolutely ridiculous. So if I bought a $100,000 truck with money I could have used and kept invested during this period, and those funds could have 20x, then how much did that truck really cost me? It cost me $2 million because the opportunity cost. And I don't care how nice the truck is. No truck I've ever seen is worth $2 million, especially when it's a $100,000 truck. So will I be upgrading a lot of things in the coming 3 or 4 months? Yes. Am I doing it? No. No, I'm living in a luxury apartment. But you guys know how it is. There's no such thing as a luxury apartment. We sold our 4,000 square foot home, and you've probably seen that video that I did the walkthrough of it, and I miss that home. But for some family reasons, we needed to do a long distance move, and so we're renting a luxury apartment right now. It does have an amazing swimming pool and hot tub. Absolutely incredible. I mean, the hot tub fits like 30 people. It's crazy. I love that about it. But, man, apartments, they're just terrible, and places small. And I do have a studio that I go film at sometimes. But I will be upgrading my house probably by February or March. I will get something possibly somewhat ridiculous. And when we do, I will show you that home. Should be a lot of fun. Not buying it yet, but in the winter is a good time to buy, as well as I will be taking some profits out. And one of the things I will be doing with those profits is buying a house cash, no mortgage. I hope that you are all in a position, either this cycle or the next one, that you get to do that too. Now, here's what I do believe about money, and this is my thoughts on it. Everyone has different opinions on this. So using your money wisely is important to me. And because, so say you do really good this market cycle, and you do 400,000, and say homes are 300,000 in the area that you're at. First, you're going to have to pay taxes on that. I know trying to avoid taxes is interesting, but at some point they will figure out how to find you. And so it's better just to pay your taxes. And so you say you lose 25% of your taxes. Now you have 300,000. If you spend all that on a home right now, well, then what are you going to do? Even if you cash it all out and you take your profits appropriately, so you have that in hand. What if you kept that 300,000 or most of it? Say you reward yourself for doing good, and you kept 250,000 of that set aside to be able to invest when the market's at its lows. Then you make some pretty smart choices, but not overly crazy or ridiculous. And from there, you only 40x your investment. So 250,000 turns into 10 million for you by the end of next cycle. Doesn't that make more sense? If you spent 300,000, you bought a house, at least you wouldn't have a mortgage payment. That part would be great. However, are you now in a position that you can make 10 million by the next bull run? Not really, right? You've taken yourself out of position. You have reduced your risk in your life because now you have a home that probably you only have to pay property taxes on and utilities, which is great. But you have taken yourself out of position for some massive gains you could have had. But, and that's with taking 50,000 to, pay your rent for 3 years or whatever, so that you don't feel bad about using the 250,000 to grow your wealth factor. That's how I think about money. Now, I grew up pretty poor. I would say, just not a lot of money, more broke. Poor is kind of a mindset. And my parents weren't poor so much as broke. They had a lot of kids. My dad worked, my mom didn't. My dad had to move around a lot to get good jobs, and so we moved around a lot as a kid. I know many of you are in similar situation. You're looking for life-changing wealth. I think this is the right place to be, but you tell me. Are you liking my videos on a scale of 1 to 10? What would you give this? I'd love to hear that in the comments. Now, if it is above a 7, would you give us a like if you haven't already? If it's below a 7, would you give us a dislike and tell me in the comments below what you hate about it? With that said, I thank you for your time, and we will see you next time.